Today's headlines. Nuclear watchdog is concerned by North Korea program. Hundreds are detained at an opposition rally in St. Petersburg. Myanmar government reclaims Yangon housing area from squatters. U.S. breaks with GS7 on climate deal and development banks. Another U.S. appeals court rules against Trump's revised travel ban. Attorney General sue over foreign payments to Trump Hotel. Plus, discover the deep, the dive, and the vista at the Philip and Patricia Frost Museum of Science in Miami. Hello everyone, I am Lynn Pence, bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, said on Monday he was seriously concerned with the continuation of North Korea's nuclear program despite the United Nations Security Council placing fresh sanctions on the reclusive state. Ace Ramirez reports.
On June 2nd, the UN Security Council expanded targeted sanctions against North Korea after its repeated missile tests, including 2 medium to long-range missiles, as well as a short-range Scud-class weapon. IAEA Director General Yukiya Amano, speaking to reporters in Vienna, said it concerns him that North Korea showed no signs that it is complying with UN Security Council resolutions.
I remain seriously concerned about the nuclear program of North Korea. It is deeply regrettable that DPLK continues to show no sign that it is willing to comply with relevant UN Security Council resolutions.
The IAEA has no access to North Korea and mainly monitors its activities by satellite. Under third-generation leader Kim Jong-un, North Korea has been conducting missile tests at an unprecedented pace in an effort to develop an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, capable of hitting the mainland United States.
Last year, the DPLK conducted 2 tests on nuclear explosive devices. They launched many missiles. And the nature of the threat has become a different stage. Therefore, we need to intensify our analytical work in order to maintain and strengthen our knowledge. We also need to keep updating our plan to return to the DPLK should the opportunity arise.
Reporting for Eagle News, I'm Ace Ramirez, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Ace. Police detained hundreds of protesters in the center of Russia's second-largest city, St. Petersburg, on Monday at an anti-graft protest called by opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Jennifer Polinton with more.
Several thousand demonstrators, including many young people, took to the street to protest against what they say is a corrupt system of rule overseen by Russian President Vladimir Putin. At one point, demonstrators threw about a giant inflatable yellow duck, a reference to a duck house, which Navalny said Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev owned on a vast country estate, an allegation Medvedev says is nonsense. Russia's Interior Ministry said 500 people were detained at the unsanctioned protest in St. Petersburg and put the number of participants to about 3,500. Reporting for Eagle News, I am Jennifer Polinton, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Jennifer. Myanmar's government destroyed around 100 houses in a suburb of Yangon on Monday and reclaimed the land back from squatters, some of whom said they thought they had bought the land legally from estate agents. Jeffrey Nolasco reports.
Workers raised houses and tents in Hilegu Township, where thousands of houses had been illegally built since 2015. An official from the Housing Development Department said the area would be used for government initiatives such as housing development projects, a hospital, golf club, and highway rest area.
We have a government project to implement here. That's why the squatters living here illegally are being ejected. They will not like us as we are razing their homes that they bought with their own money. These may be their reactions, but we will proceed according to law.
Some of the settlers said they bought the houses for a very cheap price from people who they thought were state agents.
We didn't know what company we were buying from. We saw the advertisement and came to buy the land here. I saw many other people who were buying and I thought this should be fine. I thought we had won the lottery because it was impossible in Yangon to buy 40 by 60 square feet of land with the amount equal to the rent for a year in Yangon.
Around 4,000 houses, temples, and temporary schools currently occupy a total area of around 1,453 acres in the suburbs of Yangon. The government vowed to continue its reclamation process, but said no one would be charged for invading government property. For Eagle News, I am Jeffrey Nolasco, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Up next, U.S. breaks with G7 and climate deal and development banks. Another U.S. appeals court rules against Trump's revised travel ban. Attorneys general sue over foreign payments to Trump Hotel. Plus, discover the dive and the vista at the Philip and Patricia Frost Museum of Science in Miami. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. A statement from G7's environment ministers said on Monday the United States refused to sign up to the group's major industrialized economy statement on climate change and plans to fund sustainable development. Myla Sambulan reports.
Addressing reporters at the closing news conference at the end of a two-day summit in Bologna, Italy, the ministers expressed regret over the decision of the United States.
We work to build bridges, not to erect walls. Italy, France, Germany, Japan, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the European Union declared strongly that the Paris Agreement is irreversible, non-negotiable, and the only possible tool to combat climate change. We hope that we will be able to pursue constructive dialogue on the basis of this point with the United States in the future. For us, any other option is excluded.
Even if we don't always agree, it is very important to have discussion. I was very pleased to see the very strong commitment of almost all countries to advance the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement is irreversible, and the momentum that the world is showing is so critically important to our planet. And as someone who has 3 children, who I love dearly, it really is about their future.
According to the statement, the U.S. said it did not sign up to statements by its G7 colleagues from Italy, Canada, Japan, France, Britain, and Germany on climate change and multilateral development banks, reflecting our recent announcement to withdraw and immediately cease implementation of the Paris Agreement and associated financial commitments. Earlier this month, U.S. President Donald Trump announced he would withdraw from the Paris Climate Change Accord, saying that participating would undermine the economy, wipe out jobs, weaken U.S. national sovereignty, and put the country at a permanent disadvantage to others. For Eagle News, I am Myla Simbulan, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Myla. A second U.S. appeals court on Monday ruled against President Donald Trump's temporary travel ban on people entering the United States from 6 Muslim-majority countries, largely upholding a lower court's decision. Alfred Escenas reports.
The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco reviewed a March ruling by a Hawaii-based federal judge that blocked parts of President Trump's order. The ruling came after a separate court, the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals out in Richmond, Virginia, upheld on May 25th a Maryland judge's ruling blocking parts of the order. The Trump administration on June 1 asked the U.S. Supreme Court to block the Hawaii and Richmond rulings and revive the ban. Hawaii federal judge Derek Watson blocked a March 6 executive order that would have barred travelers from Libya, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen from entering the United States for 90 days, while the government put in place stricter visa screening. Watson also blocked a directive that would have suspended entry of refugee applicants for 120 days, as well as other instructions in order for the government to study tougher vetting procedures. The Ninth Circuit Court on Monday upheld the block on Trump's travel ban and a cap on refugees. However, the appeals court vacated part of the injunction in order to allow the government to conduct internal reviews on vetting. For Eagle News, I'm Alfred Asenas, and I'm one with 25.
Thank you, Alfred. The Attorneys General of Maryland and the District of Columbia on Monday filed a lawsuit claiming that government payments to President Donald Trump's businesses violate the U.S. Constitution. According to the complaint, D.C. Attorney General Carl A. Rancine and Maryland Attorney General Brian E. Frosh said payments to the president's enterprises from foreign and domestic governments through his hospitality empire draw businesses away from Maryland and D.C. venues and put local governments under pressure to give Trump-owned businesses local treatment.
President Trump's businesses and his dealings violate the Constitution's anti-corruption provisions, known as the emoluments clauses.
Maryland Attorney General Brian Frosh said this is something Trump cannot avoid.
We will be seeking the president's financial information, including his tax returns. And the one thing we know about President Trump is he understands the value of walls. This is one he can't climb over, and it's one he can't dig underneath.
Foreign and domestic government payments to Trump's businesses were the target of a similar lawsuit brought in January by plaintiffs, including an ethics nonprofit group, and Democratic lawmakers have blasted them as potential corrupting influences on Trump. The Trump Organization said it will donate profits from customers representing foreign governments to the U.S. Treasury, but will not require the customers to identify themselves. Discover the deep, the dive, and the vista at the Philip and Patricia Frost Museum of Science in Miami. That's next. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. EBC's Diana Mae Rosen takes us on a trip to Miami's Philip and Patricia Frost Museum of Science, where the deep, the dive, and the vista amaze science enthusiasts in Florida. Take a look.
Edwin Humboldt once said that man is equipped with his five senses to explore the universe around him, and he called this adventure science. Diane Mae here at the Philip and Patricia Frost Museum of Science, and I invite you to an adventure of science.
The Frost Science Museum fits perfectly in this district, right here on the water. Some would ask, what's a better use of this land? I could say that there could be nothing better that could be here, right next to the arch, right next to the arena, to be a hub of activity for the community where they can come and learn and enjoy.
The Frost Science Museum is composed of many fun-filled interactive activities and media for the guests to enjoy. This museum is composed of a planetarium, an aquarium with 3 different levels, the deep, the dive, and the vista, where visitors can view a variety of animals from tiny jellyfish to scalloped hammerhead sharks.
People will come to this museum, learn about science, learn about the stars, learn about the seas and the oceans, and so to get them interested in it so that they can pursue their careers.
Not only are there interactive activities, but there are also shows that guests can watch, such as the laser show, which is composed of 200 lasers to create the ultimate experience. Thank you for joining me in the adventure of science. This has been Diane Mae, and I am one with 25.
Thank you, Diana May. Our twin girls would love to see that one day if we visit Florida again. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us again next time as we bring you news that matters to you. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. I am Lynn Pence, and I am 1 with 25.